Thank you for listening to this podcast from TRE, Talk Radio Europe, your voice in Spain and around the world. For more information, please visit TRE.radio.
Discuss, challenge, inform, comment, Viewpoint on Talk Radio Europe.
Giles Brown.
Live comment and discussion with studio guests. Viewpoint.
It is Tuesday the 20th of January. Listen to Viewpoint Talk Radio's current affairs program with a panel of invited guests where we discuss the issues of the day with you for the next 2 hours. Looking at a variety of issues. Every day the news seems to change in ways that we cannot even begin to understand. So looking at today's some of today's headlines, of course the latest just coming out this morning with the news that the President Trump has said that the UK's Chagos deal is an act of great stupidity. The Greenland situation rumbles on. Of course, world leaders meeting at Davos. President Trump flying in to Davos to before should be a spicy, I think, exchange of views between the world leaders. If you want to get involved with this morning's Viewpoint, you've got something local, national, or international you want to get off your chest. These are the numbers.
To contact TRE, please call 952 78 4000. Email studio@tre.radio. Send us a WhatsApp on +34 645 99 67 95. Message us on Facebook, Talk Radio Europe Official, or tweet us at TRE Talk Radio.
And I'm asking on the poll this morning, which you'll find on Talk Radio Europe Official. On the poll this morning, I'm asking the question, do you think that the UK-US special relationship is finally over? You can vote yes or no on that one. Go to Talk Radio Europe Official and let me have your say. But first of all, let's have a look at what the front pages of the papers are saying this morning. Possibility of a social media ban. These went to bed, of course, last night before Donald Trump's extraordinary tirade this morning. The possibility of a social media ban for under-16s in the UK makes many of the front pages. Daily Mail says the government has begun the consultation to see off another backbench rebellion. According to the Daily Telegraph, more than 60 Labour MPs want the Prime Minister to follow Australia's model of a ban for under-16s. The editorial in The Times says such restrictions are worth examining, but writing the same paper, the online safety campaigner Ian Russell says a ban is flawed. He points that vulnerable children use social media for connection, peer support and trusted advice. The iPaper says that the US and UK relationship is at its lowest ebb since the 1956 Suez Crisis. The paper says that Donald Trump's ambition to acquire Greenland is destroying trust on both sides of the Atlantic. The Times suggests that a potential route for de-escalation has emerged. This is before this morning's before President Trump condemned the UK's Chagos Islands deal this morning, says that a potential route for de-escalation has emerged. It highlights the claim that Trump told the Prime Minister he may have been misinformed over the true purpose of a European and British military deployment to Greenland. Brooklyn's bombshell is how the Daily Mirror describes the attack on Sir David and Lady Victoria Beckham by their eldest son. The Daily Mail and The Sun both say Brooklyn pelts Beckham has gone nuclear, having accused her parents of trying to endlessly to ruin his marriage. Daily Star says there may now be no way back. The head of one of the UK's leading cinema companies has told The Guardian that directors should make shorter films if they want their work on the big screen. The paper steadily says that steadily lengthening runtimes are causing substantial scheduling problems. Claire Binns from Picture House Cinemas says what's happening should be a wake-up call to directors because you only get one evening show per screen. The king of haute couture is how the Daily Telegraph remembers the fashion designer Valentino following his death at the age of 93. The Times describes his style as staying faithful to a specifically Italian ideal of womanhood. It says that while his critics believe modern women no longer wish to be packaged as a gift for a man, Valentino found many who wanted nothing more than to be a fairy tale princess, wrapped in bows and adored without questions. And I'm talking of which I'm joined by Andres Gallardo in the studio, who's wrapped in bows and adored without question. Morning, Andres.
Good morning, Giles. Good morning.
And I'm glad,
good way to start the program.
I'm glad to see that you are obviously you two are wearing Valentino this morning in a bit of tribute there. But yes, there you go.
Red velvet. Apparently, what that was his trademark. You know, the red velvet.
I know. I never had you down as a fashionista. But, but there you go.
I read the obituary last night.
Right, fair enough. I'm also going to be joined in a little while by Rex Leyland as well, who the Workfinder Journal will be joining us from London. Should you wish to get involved with this morning's show, then these are the numbers, as I said before, which you can get in touch with us. He said, hopefully.
To contact TRE, please call 952 78 4000. Email studio@tre.radio. Send us a WhatsApp on +34 645 99 67 95. Message us on Facebook, Talk Radio Europe Official, or tweet us at TRE Talk Radio.
Is he on the line?
And the man who put the fashion to fascism, Rex Leyland, the Workfinder General, joins us live on the line from his base on the Thames. Morning to you, Rex.
Good morning, Giles. Good morning, Spain. How is everybody in this horrendous new year?
Well,
for many, many reasons. And I'm so sad about the terrible, terrible accident
Yes.
on the railways. I am absolutely devastated, having taken that service myself on several occasions.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. 41 fatalities we have at
horrendous.
Andres joins us as well. But Andres, have you? I mean, I caught the news briefly this morning coming out of Cordoba, but obviously it's all over front and centre in the Spanish press. But any comments that you've seen that you want to share with the listeners? What are you seeing on the Spanish media this morning?
Yes, of course. It's a horrific accident. The loss of life there. The count at the moment is of 41, expected to rise to 43. I can't think how the devastation for families and friends and everything of these people who perished in this accident. It must be awful. It's terrible. I mean, it's a complete shock for Spain, for a number of reasons. I mean, like Rex just said, because some of us use that line on a regular basis. I use that line 3-4 times a year. As recent as last December, I used the line. So it's just like, say, so close to home that tends to affect you more than when you see accidents that happen far, far away. It's a terrible accident, and also the circumstances of it is what I was most concerned, especially yesterday, when everyone said that they couldn't find any reasonable cause for the accident. You had a straight line. You had good weather conditions. There was no human error because it's controlled by the software of the train and everything else. And you think, oh my God, the first thing you want to know is what happened. Not because any negatives of kind of analysis, but just to, if there's anything systematically wrong, it needs to be put right as soon as possible to avoid another accident like that. So you really want to know the cause of the accident, so a remedy can be put in place for all the lines of the high-speed train. Also, let's not forget that the high-speed train in Spain is the jewel in the crown. Yeah. We have this fantastic infrastructure. It's been, some forums have said it's probably the best high-speed service in the world. It reminded me a little bit when the Concorde crashed in Paris, where Concorde was like a flagship of aviation. In Spain, we have the high-speed service, which has been, it's a fantastic service. Having said that, I remember a few months ago in this very program, I mentioned the fact that we were starting to see faults in the lines, heavy delays in some services, some of them as long as like 7-8 hours, where trains were left in the middle of the rail and everything, and everyone starting criticizing the lack of investment in infrastructure. That was a few months ago that we mentioned it here. But from from a delay or a malfunction in a train, and to an accident where the loss of life has been incredible. It's a long way to go. And I wonder if that lack of investment in infrastructure has anything to do with it. Everyone is saying be cautious because we don't know what it is. But as I said before, we need to know what it is because we want to make sure that if it's something fundamentally wrong, it needs to put right as soon as possible so it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with always that now we're getting the personal stories coming out of those who've lost their lives. There's a family who went to see Real Madrid play.
Oh, that story is it's harrowing, honestly. It's a family of and the parents, the son, the daughter, and a cousin.
Yeah, there's a Morano Alvarez family, and
that story. The little girl, 6 years old, wandered off after the accident of the train on her own. Sort of walking around. She didn't know where she was or anything. A policeman, a Guardia Civil, found her wandering, only to learn that the parents and the brother and the cousin died in the accident. I just felt so sad. I mean, I almost in tears of thinking what that poor little girl.
Yeah.
Was she seen? And you start wondering what was going to happen to her. How much is she going to remember in the future? How is she going to be told what's happened? I mean, there'll be many stories because unfortunately 40 people dead in one incident.
43 still missing.
Well, 43 seems to be will be the final number.
No, but they're saying it's.
I think, if I may say, that what this proves is really how vulnerable we all are. It's the last transportation system that I would ever consider to be at any risk whatsoever. It, as Andrea said, it is the beacon of Spanish technology, and it is one of the finest services in the world, on a par with Japan and on a par with China. Certainly well ahead of the UK, that's for sure. We used to be ahead, but no longer. But again, it's the vulnerability. Why did it happen? How could it have happened? And if they're not citing human error, then, as Andrea said, what is it? What is going on? And it's just horrendous that you just don't think that that's going to happen. You just don't think it. And it's happened.
What thing, Rex, that I don't know how much detail you know about it, but
I'm not fully, I'm not 100%. Only what I've gleaned off the news. That's all.
It's incredible how the stars were aligned in such a way that the train that derailed went on to an oncoming
to the other track.
Train.
Yeah.
I mean, how did that happen? Bad luck can,
Yes.
how could that happen?
It should have veered to the left rather than to the right, or the right instead of to the left. But then, if it's a derailment, there must have been something on the line. Was it sabotage?
Well, this is what they're looking at. The theories now, this morning, is changed from yesterday, where the investigators are saying that the most likely cause was on the actual line. But there's many factors there because these lines are electrified, and any cut on the line, it gets notified to a center where it spots where the breakage is, But that obviously there was no sign of that breakage in the system. Also, you have to think that these high-speed trains are built; they have to be built on a surface that is completely flat. Of course, the orography of the terrain is never flat, so it has to be raised in some areas. So the line is completely flat, and this accident happened in a place where the rail had to be lifted about 4 or 5 meters above the normal ground, and unfortunately, 2 of the carriages have fallen into that. In that ditch, if you like, which makes the recovery even more difficult because it's in the middle of nowhere, literally. So the access to that particular point is even more difficult. So everything that could have gone wrong seems to have gone wrong.
And equally amplified as well because of the location being so, as you just said, so far away from anything and anybody.
Yeah. But, I mean, on the positive side, I mean, you've heard the story. I mean, I heard the story of the first guy who arrived there, who could access it because he had a quad bike.
Right.
And this guy, almost single-handedly, until the police arrived and the services arrived, this guy was helping to get people out and carry them literally on his shoulders to the quad bike to take them to safety and everything. It's just the whole thing is like a disaster movie. But in real life, it's absolutely incredible.
I mean, this morning, El País is reporting that for the railway infrastructure company, which is ADIF, warned, even on its social media channels, that there were at least 8 technical incidents on the high-speed rail link where the accident occurred on Sunday. Many related to signalling systems, although there were also issues with overhead power lines and other infrastructure. And they were brought before the Senate last summer. The government acknowledged at the time it addressed 2 technical incidents following the signal systems. The government stated that there were potential safety failures because of near the Aliveye viaduct due to high temperatures and vibrations from rail traffic. Now, there were some social media posts of carriages vibrating, Let
me tell you about the vibration, because as I told you, I took that line in November and then in December again. So I traveled twice in the space of a month. When I was on the train in November, there was, in that particular section of the track, the vibration of the train was unbelievable. I was watching a film. I couldn't on my iPad, and I couldn't watch it because it was moving so much. And I did ask the guy, what you call it, the ticket master or the
guard,
the train manager. The train manager. He went past, and I said, "What's going on? Why is this shaking? The train is shaking so much." And he said, "Oh, in this section normally shakes a little bit, but on this particular train, it's more noticeable than in other trains." So I left it at that, because after a while it just goes smooth again. It's a bit like turbulence on a plane. The second time I went a month after, I didn't notice the shaking again. So in my head I thought, I probably repaired that bit where it was shaking so much last month. But now other people are saying that they have noticed the shaking of the train before, and even some train drivers have, they ask to reduce the speed on that particular section because of the shaking of the trains. However, in this particular accident, the speed wasn't an issue, because this line is prepared to take trains to 300 k's an hour. Yeah. That's incredible speed. But in this particular accident, they were just over 200 k's an hour, which is very fast.
Has the service been resumed yet?
Oh, no. They'll take.
So if you want to go to Madrid from Malaga, you've got to
fly. I mean, there were reports this morning.
The train lines the train companies have put coaches as an alternative to travel,
right?
And Iberia have put
on extra flights.
Iberia have put extra flights to Seville and to Malaga. I have to say, Iberia have seen a business opportunity there, because the tickets are ridiculously expensive.
Yeah,
you think that they're doing a favour for the service to put the extra flights, but on the other hand, they put the prices.
Well,
high.
Morally, they should have charged the same as the train.
Wow.
Yes.
Morally.
Or at least run the service at a non-profit for a period of time until the train is... But let's not forget, Iberia and the high-speed train, in that particular section, like the Malaga, Madrid, Seville, Madrid, they're in competition. They are the big competitors because they've lost a lot of passengers.
It's like when there's a large crash on the down here on the Costa del Sol, Rex, and you'll remember this when there's a crash here, and then people have to go up on the on the toll roads, and the tolls don't go for nothing, and there's been quite sometimes there've been very, very disgruntled motorists saying we can't get on the coast road, and we're getting hit with the full fury of whatever it is, the 17, the tariff as you go through. Richard, good morning to you, Richard. Richard's saying it's got nothing to do with signalling, and also he's thinking about possible theft of copper on the line.
That hasn't been the case in this. There was no theft. I mean, there has been cases of theft of copper, and that's some of the delays have been caused by that, but it's not the case in this particular case. Yeah, that has been a problem. That's true. The stealing copper from the railway lines has been an issue in the past, but it's not the case in this particular case.
952 78 4000 being the phone number if you want to get involved with this show and have your thoughts on this. But it is something like this, as you said. It's almost like very much like the Concorde because of the.
Well, Concorde was actually that was a man-made incident.
But what do you think? Thinking of the sort of prestige, because I mean, obviously, the high-speed rail line is very much, as I said before, as Andrew says, the jewel in the crown. Richard coming back on the WhatsApps here saying, the odds on Claudio blaming the PSOE for the rail crash. It crossed onto the other track, so it's irrelevant whether it was new or old, straight or curved. Accident happened near a switch. Isn't air travel statistically safer? Yes, I know it's statistically safer, but we psychologically feel that when we get on a train, we feel safer than we get being.
But don't forget, we're travelling at 300 km an hour. But in any case, I mean, this train line, this was opened in 1992, so it's been in operation for 30 odd years, and. In this particular line, the line was renewed. Finished renewing the whole track last year, so it was fairly new in what is the infrastructure. The train that derailed was serviced about 10 days ago, give or take. So it wasn't the train. So the first reaction was there is no reasonable explanation. When you get a plane crash, for instance, you always get someone who films it, and then pilots and engineers and everyone, they all say, the flaps don't seem to open correctly, or this is not, or the...
Well, the Air India particularly was human error. But what
I'm trying to say is it's quickly identified, and if it's obvious that it's a problem with the plane, all the planes of that make get serviced and revised.
I wonder how frequently the track is inspected.
Well, this particular track was finished to be renewed last May, so fairly recently.
And I mean, and the carriages themselves, the trains itself had been checked. I mean, the thing is, I mean, no matter how safe we try and make the world, I'm not saying, but, accidents will happen. I mean, it's, as we know, I mean, otherwise you wouldn't, if you wouldn't get out of bed, would you, basically? And then possibly the roof had fallen on you. So it is, unfortunately, these things do happen, and because of the speeds involved as well.
Actually, Giles, I'll chip in there. It did actually happen to us at our villa in Spain when we had it. The soffit fell down in the middle of the night.
Yeah, okay.
And we nearly lost our lives. It missed us by inches.
Right. Okay.
So things can happen.
Yeah.
And of course, people then said, the following morning, did the earth move for you? What do you think?
But no, and also having seen some of the TV pictures, I mean, because this was on an embankment and the tracks of the slower, the Igor.
That's another thing. I mean, let me just explain for the listeners. The structure goes and I think it's similar in other countries. Certainly, I think it is in the UK. You've got the infrastructure, which is the rails in this particular case, which is controlled and developed and maintained by a company called ADIF, ADIF. This company is a state control. I think there might be some private capital, but it's generally just state control. So the government controls that particular company that controls the infrastructure. Then you have the train operators. You've got Renfe, which is another state-owned company that operates the lines. And in the last 5 years, you've had private operators giving the service in the same infrastructure. What I'm trying to say with that is that the amount of traffic that infrastructure has to deal with has increased in the last 5 years with the introduction of the private operators.
Yeah.
It's an Italian company and a French company that have invested into these private lines. Now, if with any road, if you got an increase in traffic, it is reasonable to think that the road itself is going to have more maintenance if you get more cars through. But this is the same with the trains. Now we have increased the traffic on that infrastructure. The infrastructure will probably need to be looked at and maintained more often, if you like, or more efficiently to support that. Don't forget, these things weight tons.
Yeah.
And they got a really high speed. So those...
And then you have the other complication, which we have in the UK since denationalisation, where you have so many companies involved doing different functions. Somebody owns the track, somebody owns the coaches, somebody owns the railway company, blah, blah, blah. And it goes on. And probably in this case, there will be a lot of fingers being pointed at a lot of different outfits, different companies.
Yeah.
All probably trying to pass the buck.
Yeah, but in essence, I think to include private companies to operate the lines and the routes, in general, it's been a good thing for the consumer, because we found the high-speed train, it was very, very good service, but it was an expensive service for Spanish standards.
Yeah.
Now, what these private operators have come with the competition have offered the same high-speed train at a lower price. So the consumer has benefited from that. The only thing is that to use the tracks, the private operators have to pay like a usage fee, and perhaps those fees or percentage of it should be reinvested into the infrastructure. That's the way you would imagine it works. I don't know. I can't say that hasn't been the case, but I hope it has been reinvested into the maintenance, because the maintenance is key. It is for a railway, it is for an airport, it is for a road, it is for everything. So you need to maintain those infrastructures, because that is the support of our system.
Just to let you some of the bits and pieces. So Renfe has activated a rail service between Madrid and Andalusia, with a section in Cordoba by bus. Their high-speed services will operate between Madrid and Andalusia, although the section between Villanueva de Cordoba and Cordoba will be done by bus. Thus, they won't pass the site of the accident. The operation will continue, said Renfe, as long as the line remains closed. It's asking only those who need to travel for strictly necessary reasons to take advantage of the plan. The operator explains that the road journey by bus between Cordoba and Villanueva de Cordoba will increase travel times, although this will have departures from Madrid, Puerto de Atocha, which is obviously the station, the main one, at 7 in the morning, at 11, 1500 hours, and 700 hours towards Sevilla, and at 9, 1300 and 1700 hours towards Malaga. Trains will depart from Sevilla at 3 minutes past 6, 9:55, 14:01 and 18:03, while trains will depart from Malaga at 7:55, 11:55 and 15:55, and that's the last train out of Malaga to Madrid then, basically, while it's suspended. And the services between Cordoba and Malaga will stop at So this is the intermediate services. Trains between Madrid and Villanueva de Córdoba stop in Ciudad Real and Puerto Llano, while the services between Córdoba and Malaga will stop in Antequera. And there's no services between Sevilla and Córdoba, no, the sort of cross ones. So those are what's happened. And also Renfe has increased capacity from the Madrid-Extremadura Sevilla medium distance line. So they've put more carriages on those ones. So they are trying to work around the problem. But if you want to get from Malaga to Madrid, you either got to fly, get in the car, or do this option and then take a coach and rejoin. It just shows how these things are. When you have a disaster like this.
Yeah, I cannot imagine this kind of thing happening in the high season. Because now it is this slow season. There is less movement of people, so less people will be affected by these. That doesn't mean that it's
I think the worst element of this was the sheer bad luck of the train veering into the other train rather than, going onto the embankment. Where, of course, the damage would have been a lot less.
Yeah, the Minister of Transport, Oscar Puente, says he's denied any link between the train accident and the lack of investment. He dismissed it as mere speculation that the accident was caused by a track failure at a specific point, and says it's too easy to draw conclusions about the causes. This was on the Sarah radio.
Yeah. I heard the interview this morning with the minister, and that's why I knew that the rail the track had been updated and upgraded and finishing last May, so it's quite recent. All the works taken place between 2021 and 25, so it's been a long process. The 700 million euros have been invested into improving that infrastructure. So it appears that it's not the infrastructure or the investment in the infrastructure. However, investigators are looking at a gap of about 40 centimeters in the rail. The first, it's very difficult to say. I'm not saying that was the cause because you've got that gap in the rail, but you don't know if that gap was before the train passed or was a gap caused by the accident and not. It was a consequence of the accident, not the cause. So, I heard the interview, and you have to take it on board. Yeah, they have. That section of the train was recently renewed. Yeah. To what standards? I don't know. We don't even know what the cause is. It's difficult to say. However, I still think that to reassure the people who use the services, we would need to know that something is put in place to avoid another. I mean, like they do with planes. With planes, something goes wrong with one plane, and they call them all in to sort of check the systems and everything else. So you feel a little bit more reassured that something is being done. To say we don't know what it is and nothing is going to be done for months until the investigations are finished, it's a little bit unnerving. Yeah, I mean, it is to me anyway. I don't know how other people feel, but it is to me.
Rex, you will, of course, this sort of my alarm bells were this. The one that I think of here is Clapham Junction, of course, which was in the 80s, which you will remember very well indeed. It's a line that we all used to take when we were living in London, and there was a tremendous loss of life, and that saw a complete sort of transformation and upgrades of the rolling stock, didn't it? Because they were, unfortunately, was proved to be tremendously substandard, and remember the devastation at the Clapham Junction rail crash.
Yeah, I don't actually recall it in clarity, but I'm just trying to think when was the last time we had a rail disaster.
Well, there was one at Paddington, wasn't there? There was Paddington rail crash.
I remember the time when the train didn't stop at the buffers. I remember that one. Yeah,
I think that may have been the Paddington one, which is coming back to the 30s. 87 was Clapham, which was, or 88.
But you see now, this government have started to nationalise. Yeah. In fact, our service here from Kew Bridge to Waterloo, that actually South West Trains is it's the first to be renationalised. Yeah. Under Labour.
Right. Okay.
but we'll see. We'll see. I don't use the train very much, but it's interesting that, they're minded now to renationalise.
Okay, going to take a quick break and then back with more Viewpoint.
Viewpoint with
Giles Brown.
Always live, always lively. Joined in the studio by Andres Gallardo and live from the Thames, the woke finder general himself, Rex Leyland. If you want to get involved and get your viewpoint across, national, international, or local, these are the numbers.
To contact TRE, please call 952 78 4000. Email studio@tre.radio. Send us a WhatsApp on +34 645 99 67 95. Message us on Facebook, Talk Radio Europe Official, or tweet us at TRE Talk Radio.
Looking at the poll I'm running, on Talk Radio Europe Official's Facebook page, do you think the US-UK special relationship is finally over? Well, we're split down the middle. 50% say yes, 50% say no. Good morning to John Robert, who says only with Trump at the moment. Now, let's get off that, because it has been... You sort of turn to somebody. I saw a meme the other day, or somebody put a notion on social media, is like being a European is basically getting along very well until 5 o'clock when America wakes up and you go, good grief, what's going on now? I woke up this morning with the US President Donald Trump criticising the UK plans to give away the island of Diego Garcia, the site of a US military base, to Mauritius as an act of great stupidity. And obviously the world leaders are gathering for the World Economic Forum, Trump being among them. Rex, I'll send this curveball to you first. Talking about the special relationship, this is what we grew up with. We grew up with NATO. We grew up with the Americans being our greatest ally. And suddenly, do you feel, Rex, as the woke finder general, that the special relationship with the US is on a very shaky footing, if not completely destroyed by now?
I am utterly confused by the behaviour of the imperious confected oaf. And I say that because you find, when you're talking to people generally, 50% are in love with Trump and 50% find it very difficult to accept his behaviour. I'm afraid that I am not for Trump. I think he's destroying the world, causing uncertainty, unnecessary unpleasantness, and even his own people, I think, the Americans, are beginning to wake up to realize that perhaps something's not quite right. He continues to bully, to goad, to push, to shove. He has a track record that is far from blemish-free. There is one thing that came to mind the other day, and I had to look it up because I couldn't believe it. Did you know that there are no tariffs, direct tariffs against Russia, against Putin? And do you know why there are no tariffs directly? Okay, there are sanctions, but not, real punishing tariffs, because Putin probably has something on Trump. And if you look at Trump's history with the Epstein affair and all of these naughty things that have been going on in the past and involving ex-presidents as well, doesn't it all now become a little bit smelly? I mean, okay, the British have had terrible scandals. You go back in history, whether it was Profumo or whatever. But I mean, they all fall into significance compared to what Trump's doing. I just find it so upsetting that if you think back, before Russia went into Ukraine, we had 30 years of near peace, virtual peace in the world. Now we're on the verge of something horrible. Was he right to go into Venezuela? Well, we know that internationally it was wrong. You don't walk into somebody's country, no matter whether you like them or dislike them. It doesn't give you the right to go in. Of course, the people appear to be grateful. But then look at Iran. Look what's just happened in Iran. And all his bellicose threats came to nothing. I think that Trump should be taken with a huge pinch of salt.
Then it's not a pinch.
Not a pinch. Yeah.
A huge pinch. Or a truckload of salt.
You mean a gritter, basically. You're all for sending a gritter up.
The gritters are out.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So, no, that's it. I mean, I don't have confidence in him. I mean, if you just go back to Reagan and his level of governance in comparison to Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, what is Trump doing to his own people? Sending in the Gestapo, ICE. What are they doing? I mean, the way they're behaving without any legal credence. They're just walking in and taking people and under some pretense. And all the local governments in America are fighting Trump. The Democrat governments are fighting Trump. You know, if you think what he's doing to his own country, never mind what he's doing to the rest of the world, this is not a man of normality, a man of sanity. And they do say that he has a lot of issues medically and mentally. There are things that were going around on the various media platforms about his injections and this and that and the other. I don't think he's a well man.
Well, I mean, if you see, I mean, the Trump, the latest thing, he released AI-generated photographs to simulate his conquest of Greenland and Canada with, pictures of him holding an American flag, with J.D. Vance and Mario Rubio in the background. Yeah. Greenland, U.S. territory established 2026. I mean, this is a man, remember, whose favourite film is Gone with the Wind, okay? So, frankly, my dear, he doesn't really give a damn, I think, what anybody else thinks about what he's up to.
Well, he's a load of hot air as well. But, I mean, also, very quickly, Greenland had many US bases on it years and years ago. All he has to do is to reopen them or to rejuvenate. The Greenlanders said, we'd love the bases to open. We'd love the extra employment. We'd love the security, but we don't want to be American. I quite understand that. I don't want to be American, So I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I'm just going to throw in a quick. I'm just going to be just before you, because I know you're impassioned here. I just want to get this ad break out of the way, and then because we've got a fun ad break, because we've only got about 12 minutes of the first half left. It's just flown by. So if you just bear with me whilst I pop in an ad break, and then we're back with more Viewpoint.
Viewpoint with Giles Brown.
Into the last 10 minutes of the first half of Viewpoint, joined by Andres Gallardo and Rex Leyland. Rex, you're getting very impassioned about where... because if you remember the 80s, and we kind of do, Rex, I mean, we thought that, Reagan was unhinged at that point, and now we look back at him as a beacon of sanity.
Absolutely. You think of the Reagan-Thatcher era, where there was pretty well world stability, if my memory serves me correct. And basically, there was rule with intelligence and fairness. Trump lacks both of those elements.
Intelligence and fairness, Andres. Trump lacking both.
The thing is that, I mean, the Rex has mentioned Venezuela. I mean, we all know, who doesn't, that what he wanted from Venezuela was the oil. He was never interested in democracy or in just to get elections or anything. He wanted. Now, the tactics to get that, that's what you may question, He used the excuse of the drug trafficking to extract Maduro and put him in American jail, like they did with Noriega in Panama. But you wonder, why not call the guy to the White House and say, look, this is the deal. I'm going to get your petrol if you want to stay in power. But because what he's done is left the number 2 of Maduro in place, Delcy Rodriguez. So nothing is changed in terms of the regime there. The only thing is changed, and he's got all the access.
The only thing that changed, he got the Peace Prize.
Yeah, and he got the Peace Prize in the process, or the president of the thing, which was another pathetic thing. But anyway, then with Greenland, you got a situation where you think, well, Greenland belongs to Denmark. Denmark is NATO. If he's worried about security, the normal thing you would say, okay, let's put some NATO forces there to secure the island from any interference from China or Russia, which is what one of the excuses he puts. But the reality is that everyone knows that what he wants is the rare minerals and the rare earth that you got in Greenland for himself. So it's all these ways of going round the rhetoric of what he's doing, when we know the ultimate price for Greenland is the minerals, and the ultimate price for Venezuela is the petrol. He doesn't want anything else, because anyone would think, okay, well, it's a NATO country, it's a territory within NATO. If I'm worried about security, we're going to send some whatever you need to send there, with these planes or troops or whatever it is. Problem solved. But no, he wants the whole thing for himself. He says for America, but I think it's for himself, to be honest. That's where we're at with Trump.
I think he's more business motivated than politically motivated.
Oh, totally. Yes. We all know that.
And also one forgets that the Venezuelans confiscated or nationalized all the oil companies that were operating in Venezuela, which actually belonged to the Americans. So in a way, I can sympathize. They want their oil companies back, or they want their, they all lost their stakes when not Maduro, his predecessor, nationalized everything. Chavez took the lot. But it still doesn't give him the right to go into another country, albeit, I don't know. I'm confused on that one. But internationally, he doesn't have the right. But morally, maybe he does. I don't know.
The problem is that we are in an era now that a sovereign country is not as sovereign as we think it was, because Putin walked into Ukraine. Now he's threatening to go into Greenland. Yeah. He's already interfered in Venezuela. So a sovereign country is not what a sovereign country used to be only a few years ago.
What this is promoting, Andreas, unfortunately, is it's giving literally, I use the word, ammunition to China to go in to take Taiwan.
Exactly. I mean,
that's another one. Are we opening the door for that to happen?
Well, of course, you can't say, oh, well, one rule applies to us and one rule doesn't apply to us. And obscenely enough, it seems that China now seems to be the adult of the room, because it's saying, well, we understand international law. They've said now, whether that can be trusted as well. The Foreign Secretary, the British Foreign Secretary, said that firstly, Greenland is a part of the Kingdom of Denmark. Is a future for Greenlanders and Danes and them alone. This reflects the fundamental principles of sovereignty and territorial integrity. Secondly, the use or threat of tariffs against allies in this way is completely wrong, unwarranted, counterproductive. And third, Arctic security is a shared concern and a shared responsibility for both sides of the Atlantic. It can only be effectively addressed and maintained through cooperation, through transatlantic allies, and crucially through NATO. So instead of divisions and our own that only aid our adversaries, we now need a serious and constructive dialogue about Arctic security, which is built on respect and sovereignty and collective security and the rules that underpin our alliance. I mean, the Foreign Secretary, Rex, and I know you're not a Labour fan, but those seem to be pretty salient points.
Absolutely. Of course, Greenland is to Denmark as to our previous, I don't want to use the word, I say colonies, but it's the wrong word now. It's not woke. But should we say there are places, many places in the world still under our protection, under the crown, let's say, but are completely independent, completely free. But like Australia, Canada, they choose to be under the crown. And basically, why can't Greenland remain with its parent, so to speak, Denmark, without interference from America? It's a nonsense. The whole thing is a nonsense.
I just like the way that the woke phone journalist has declared that something isn't woke, so you find something that's not woke.
Well, we are allowed to say colonial, but of course the wokes would not like it.
The wokes.
The indication is like you can't use the word. Did you know you can't use the word master bedroom anymore?
No, I didn't know, but I mean,
no, it's not correct. You have to say the principal bedroom.
The principal bedroom.
Because it invokes colonialism and slavery. The master bedroom.
Right, okay, fine. So when...
we've learned something new.
Yes, I mean, obviously, Rex has got so many of the suite, you know.
I'm woke.
In the West.
I am the woke finder, so, you know, you're coming from a very good portal.
You see, in this thing with Greenland and so on, it's funny how Trump talks about, I'm going to take this, I want to do this island for the United States and so on. But nobody's considering the inhabitants of Greenland. Nobody's asked them, what do you think about it? I know in the past, they had issues with whether they should be independent from Denmark or not.
Fine.
But I wonder if someone is going to ask the people in Greenland, there's not many of them, there's only 56,000, I believe, to see where they sit on all of this, because it's going to affect them.
Sorry, Rex, go on.
No, as I said earlier, they're very happy for all those bases to reopen, providing employment, security. They're very, very happy with that. They just don't want to be American, and I can't understand that.
And also it's the fact that, you know, the Danes of all people have been very pro-American. I think it's over 50 Danish soldiers lost their lives in Afghanistan and Iraq.
That's right. The highest death rate was from the Danish contingencies.
Right.
And you're right. They have, Denmark is a lovely country. The Danes are wonderful people, and they're not provocative or antagonizing in any way or threatening in any way. It's shocking.
No, indeed. Well, listen, we're coming to the end of the first half of what has been a very entertaining viewpoint this morning. So we will, in the second half, we'll come back to this and other issues. But we'll be back after the national and international news.
Talk Radio Europe.
Your voice in Spain.
Discuss, challenge, inform, comment, Viewpoint on Talk Radio Europe.
Giles Brown.
Live comment and discussion with studio guests.
Viewpoint.
And welcome back to the second half of Let's Talk with me, Giles Brown, joined in the studios by Andres Gallardo and live from the Thames, from London, by Rex Lowland. Let's go at some of the WhatsApps we're having, and if you want to get involved with today's show, it can be local, national or international. These are the numbers.
To contact TRE, please call 952 78 4000. Email studio@tre.radio. Send us a WhatsApp on +34 645 99 67 95. Message us on Facebook, Talk Radio Europe Official, or tweet us at TRE Talk Radio.
I know. I said let's talk, and I should have said Viewpoint. Thank you, Andres. You are my little voice of conscience.
I'm listening.
You're listening. Right, now, other people listening. Let's have a look at the WhatsApps. Some of the thoughts. Rex is catching on. Morning, Rex. Are you there, by the way, Rex?
I am.
Marvellous. Marvellous. Rex is catching on, okay? This is from geriatric specialists, doctors and nurses. They concur dementia Donald is deteriorating mentally and physically in real time. He had a mild to mid-TIA back in September, missing from public view for 9 days, mostly affected his right side, drooping mouth and dragging his leg, wears calf height leg braces and struggles on steps or walking in straight lines, has 3 monthly transfusions, bruising on his right hand has reduced from 3 months to monthly. Regular MRI scans are not preemptive medical tests. They're looking for degradation and brain bleeds. Routine cognitive tests for the same reason, deterioration. Meanwhile, Trump boasts about recognizing a giraffe. Signs of upper palate prosthesis, most likely due to long-term drug abuse. Dementia drugs can cause bone shrinkage, and his upper palate is slipping more and more. more. Diminishing vocabulary range and ability to stay on topic. His weave is just a word salad. His social filters are failing. What we're seeing is his true personality coming to the fore. Whilst he's useful, those around him will prop him up. Jack Smith, the former special counsel, has scheduled to appear and testify publicly before the House Judiciary Committee this Thursday. He's going to escalate all sorts of crap. Meanwhile, looking at the this is back on the rail crash. This is from William. Weren't the passengers experiencing heavy vibrations quite early on the journey? What I saw yesterday on Primera, yes, they were saying that as well. Morning, peeps. It seems that Tango Man has a Joachim von Ribbentrop advertising him. Look how that ended. Okay. Perhaps you should look at what happened to Citgo that was stolen by the US in a fire sale and sold to a Trump ally. This one in as well. Here's another fact. Oh, here we go. Okay, so here's another fact. Putin has compromat on Trump. Here's another fact. The last time Denmark sold an island to the US was in 1917. That island was Little St. James, once more commonly known today as Epstein Island. We've got a caller on the line. Morning, caller, you're live on TRE. What's your name? Where are you calling from? What's your viewpoint, please?
Morning, Giles. Peter.
Morning, Peter.
Sure, blimey.
Yeah, morning to you, mate.
Morning, Peter.
Morning. Was I say a week is a long time in politics?
Yeah.
Wow. Look what a year's done. Reverse it a year, and we're talking Biden and his health, and everybody's screaming, conspiracy, conspiracy. Kamala Harris is waffling word salads. Conspiracy, conspiracy. And here we go again. So I'll stick, like I said last week, no emotion. We'll stick to the facts. Rex, if there was anything in those Epstein files, the Biden administration had them for 4 years. So I think it would have surfaced by now because they did everything in their power to destroy that man, and it would have been easy just to release those files, but they never did, and they wouldn't. So obviously there's nothing in them. Or there's so much in them on both sides of the aisle, it will bring down the government, both governments, everything. So there's nothing in them, I don't think, because the Israelis aren't that stupid. So Epstein doing what he done, and probably the Israelis were in control. So we're never going to find out. The Clintons are refusing to answer a subpoena and go to court and answer the questions. So we're never going to find out. So that's nothing to do with it. Trump is a big man. He's an old man. He's a very unhealthy eater. And if he dropped dead tomorrow, I would not be surprised in the least. But this is Trumpism. So who steps into Trump's shoes? So just because Trump goes doesn't mean to say Trumpism goes, does it? Greenland. They've had an agreement with Greenland since 1951. I think it was the Thule Agreement. It's now a different name, an Inuit name, I don't know. But America can do what they want pretty much on that island, military-wise, and they have been doing since 1951. Now, I think it's called a Great Circle Point. That's why our planes go out over Greenland, because of the curve of the Earth, short distance, save fuel, what you can see ahead, and that's always kept watch on Russia. All the time. Always has, always will. Also, the Inuits, they speak a different language than Norwegians. I worked in the Shetland Islands for 3 years when they built Solomon Oil Terminal. If you called a Shetlander Scottish, he would throw you into the sea and you'd freeze within 30 seconds. They speak a different language, same as the Inuits. Now, I think you said last week, Giles, you know some Inuits, don't you?
Yes, I do, yes.
Yeah, well, the question you should be for your survey is how much would you take to give up your passport? Because 56,000 times a million is only 56 billion. Give them 5 million each and it's only 280 billion. But I don't think... Trump is Alex Ferguson on steroids. We all know how Alex worked, and this is how Trump works. Exactly the same. Same as when he wore a cap with Trump 2030, whatever it was the date, and everybody went ballistic. He keeps the attention on him while everything else is going on. It's just his way. We've spoke about the Monroe Doctrine. He's carrying that out, and we all know now what he's doing, what his policies are, and what he's trying to achieve. He's doing the same with Greenland. What he wants to do is sit down with them and extend the agreement, possibly with the minerals, so-called climate change, ice melting, new routes, more powerful ships can break through the ice, shorter routes. All this is there that America wants part of. Now, all they're going to do is offer security in exchange. But they need, because it was done in 1951, although it's still standing, it's only a paper agreement, maybe a handshake, a paper agreement. So he wants all this renewed, rewritten, and to the benefit of America, obviously, but also to the benefit of the people of Greenland. Now, I would bet my bottom dollar if you offered everybody in Gibraltar $5 million to change their passport to Spanish, it would be done.
Oof.
Done tomorrow.
It would be done. Like blue touch paper and retire, Peter.
Exactly.
Blimey, mate.
But, Gibraltar's a richer area, I should imagine. The people there are probably less. But international law, same as the Falklands, same as any of those places like that, international law states if you have a vote and there's a certain percentage, I think it's up over 90%, they can change over to another country any day they want to. But Trump doesn't want that. He's just lighting the blue touch paper, as we say, and he's creating this argument. And remember, Europe is not in the Western Hemisphere. UK is. Maybe that's why Starmer's now saying, "Oh, please, let's not tread on his toes. I don't want to ruin my legacy." But I don't know why they can't see the policy, not the personality. What he's trying to achieve since the start. When I went through the what was his name, Miller, when I went through all what he wants to do, and if you listen to Scott Bessent, J.D. Vance, and many of those, Trump passing away or disappearing might be the worst thing to happen to a lot of you liberal lovies, because it could then really be serious, where no more joking, no more whipping it up, just doing it. Now, the American economy is booming. As the BBC said this morning, for all you BBC lovers, inflation's only at 2.7%. Most Federal Reserves or federal banks want to keep inflation around 2%. And for the Fed, before everybody gets on and says he's politicizing it, the Fed dropped interest rates to try and stimulate the economy when Biden was in. And they're doing the opposite to Trump. And also, the Attorney General, I think her name, I can't remember her name, she's on the telly quite a lot. She wrote to the Federal Reserve, asked them to answer the questions of why they're so much over budget and where the money's going. He ignored it, chose to go on TV, chose to slag off Trump. So he opened that can of worms. But I just don't understand why people can't see his policy, and you like it or lump it, it's down to you. But all this yellow hair, little fingers, he said, she said, it just gets us nowhere, does it? I mean, Greenland is nothing. 56,000 people on a huge great iceberg, mostly Inuits, probably mostly struggling for money. Now, you open those American air bases, expand those American bases, start the transport going in and out of there. That's a booming place. A lot of people will move there. In fact, if he's going to offer $5 million, I might take up Greenland residency.
Right.
Go and jump the boat. But he won't buy it, and he won't attack it. And but going back to what I said last week, Giles, he's going after Europe. Quite simple, isn't it?
Well, I mean, the thing is, they were saying, and John Sopel made the on the podcast in News Agents yesterday, said that okay, if he gets Greenland, Iceland looks pretty good, need that as well, and the UK's been described as a giant aircraft carrier off Europe. I mean, where does it stop? I mean, when he said make America great again, does he mean make America great in landmass as well? Does it make it the America the great power, the spheres of influence that people keep bandying around?
The way that's going to happen, if he wants to do that, and has always been talked about forever, is Canada and Mexico. And that's why the lefty lot always call it North America, and they don't say the United States of America or the USA, because they talk about North America, because they want Canada and Mexico. And as I've said so many times of what Europe are doing, expansionism, and now America are looking at the same way, and it's suddenly wrong. And to try and buy a country or steamroll a country, Europe will withdraw funding from Hungary, from other countries, just because they don't carry out what Europe seem to think is correct. If you don't do what Europe wants you to do, you don't get your funding. Is that any different to what Trump is threatening? No, not in my mind, it's not.
Okay. Peter, as always, good to hear from you as well.
Right, well, hopefully the blue touch paper is lit.
Yes,
and,
indeed.
Now we can return to Trump's health and what size his hands are. Okay.
Thanks very much for that. Trump's health and what size his... and Gibraltar... Gibraltarian listeners. Just before you come in, Rex, one second. Gibraltarian listeners, let me know. Would you take money for sovereignty to hand back? Here's a theatrical point. If you're a Gibraltarian, would you take 5 million and become Spanish? 952 78 4000, or you can WhatsApp me on +34 645 99 67 95. There's an idea. That would get Sanchez going, wouldn't it, Peñon? Right, Rex.
Just a little addenda. I'm just looking at something, a little quote. It's called prescient language, and it reads as follows. Who would have thought English was such a prescient language? The Oxford English Dictionary tells me the word, quote, trumpery, first used in 1456, means deceit, fraud, imposture, trickery. How could it have known all that in advance?
Well, there you go.
1456, the word trumpery.
1456.
Yeah, deceit, fraud, imposture, trickery. Well.
I think William Shakespeare missed Mr. Trick there, getting a few trumps into
Absolutely.
Do you bite your trumps at us? So we bite our trumps. Andres, you're looking mystical. Even you have your head in. Yes,
I listen. I like to listen. There's so many points that the caller made there. I wouldn't know where to start. Tend to disagree with most of them anyway.
Right.
In terms of Gibraltar, I don't know about the 5 million. I mean, that's never going to happen. But one of the main reasons the Gibraltarians want to remain Gibraltarians is because they've got great tax advantages by being Gibraltarian. So I think that's something to do with it. So yeah, in regards to Trump, we're not focusing on whether his hair is orange or not, or he looks this way, or his hands are one size or another. I think the evidence is there. I mean, he's doing things that surprises all of us, governments, citizens, everyone. You're talking here a policy of tariffs that we haven't seen for a long time. I mean, we are under the impression that free commerce is a good thing because it allows country to sort of commerce between each other, creates competition with products. The consumer benefits because there's a war on prices, so ultimately the consumer benefits. And you know, it's a free-flowing free market, and we were all under the impression that was a good way forward. It has been for many years, and now we get Trump saying that he's going to impose all these crazy tariffs all the time as a threat to everyone, even their allies. So it doesn't make sense to me. How could it make sense? Can someone explain that to me?
How can it make sense? Can someone explain it? Somebody said you sound like you're digging a trench, Rex. Are you preparing for the inevitable in the background?
Well, of course, you never know what this government is going to do next. We live on a knife edge. You never know what disaster it hits us all. You know, we just go lurching from one thing to the next.
Don't worry, because they sent Rachel Reeves as our delegate to Davos. So
I saw that. We haven't mentioned Davos yet.
No. Before we get stuck into Davos, And Ursula von der Leyen is speaking at the moment, saying, "Time to build a new independent Europe." That'll get people going. It could have been worse. They could have sent Meghan Markle over, Rex. That would have really got you going. Let's have a look. Talk Radio Europe official Facebook post. I'm asking, do you think the US-UK special relationship is finally over? Well, 58% of you say no. 42% say yes, it is. And some of the comments coming in. It'll be a long time before full trust is restored. It's not such a black and white situation, says Paddy. UK and Europe must stand up to Trump in a hard, direct way. Other comments that I can mention. Excuse me. Blimey. Looking at all the comments coming in thus far. Therefore, yeah, we've got those comments coming in. This is coming in saying, El Presidente, Stephen Ritson. There's a thing for him. El Presidente. Viva. No pasarán Ritson. Stephen Ritson has theorized about Putin having compromat on Trump. As time goes on, it makes more and more sense. Ray comes in.
I agree with that totally.
Right, okay. This in from the Ray on the important issue of Trump's small hands. Does that mean he's got sorry, I didn't read the whole story. Does that mean he's got a small willy? Maybe he's compensating by wanting to take over Greenland. Thanks for that, Ray. Good to have that particular bit of medical knowledge coming in. Knife edge my eye. Rex's knife edge is sticking with Fortnum's or downgrading to the hoi polloi at Waitrose. Okay, fine. Meanwhile...
No, Chez Maurice.
Chez Maurice, is it?
Morrison's. Chez Maurice.
Chez Maurice.
And it's Pierre Jean, not Peter Jones.
Okay, Pierre Jean, okay. Somebody actually said to me the other day, my name is Juan Luis, as in your famous store on Sloane Square, John Lewis. I thought that was brilliant, made me giggle. Meanwhile, yes, Juan Luis on Plaza de Sloane. Plaza de Eslone. Meanwhile, I'm going to keep that. I like that, Plaza de Eslone. Meanwhile, why does TRE persist on putting disseminators of misinformation on the blanket of everyone's having a viewpoint? Well, the clue is in the name of the show. Now, Donnie doesn't... Right, Reagan was a pussycat. People had a larger issue with the idiocy of Dubia. Donnie doesn't follow international laws. As for morality, he's never had it. And China cherry-picks international law. Copyright law chapter seems to be missing from the Chinese copy of statutes. Dodgy financing under the Union Jack. Brilliant. No one calls it the principal bedroom. Just because 56%...
I said the master bedroom.
I know, but nobody calls it the principal bedroom either. So... Meanwhile,
what do they call it?
I don't know what they call it, Rex. I mean, they used to have a studio in Hammersmith, for goodness sake. The big Greenlanders don't want money. What Peter knows about finance, Andres could write it on his Sanchez Love Journal. I didn't know you were working on a Sanchez Love Journal. Anyway, what we need to do as Europeans is boycott US goods and services. Apparently,
Canada have.
Hey, what? Sorry,
Canada have done that.
Yes.
And severely. It's affecting all the wine growers, and that you can't buy bourbon in Canada. I mean, they've cleared the shelves.
Yeah, well, there you go. You see, hit them where it hurts. That's got to be done, hasn't it? You know, that's got to be done. And Ozempic apparently is Denmark produces an awful lot of Ozempic, which is the weight loss drug, I believe. I think. Am I correct?
Correct.
And so they're going to be, anybody who's taking that in the States is going to be in a whole heap of trouble. Coming up to past, so we've got 33 minutes of the show left. If you want to get your viewpoint across,
to contact TRE, please call 952 78 4000. Email studio@tre.radio. Send us a WhatsApp on +34 645 99 67 95. Message us on Facebook, Talk Radio Europe Official, or tweet us at TRE Talk Radio.
Good morning to Bill Cox, who's just sent me a wow emoji, the open mouth one about, do you think the US-UK special relationship is finally over? 42% saying no, yes, 58% saying no, it's still going on. Right, so, meanwhile, in Davos, Ursula von der Leyen...
Just a quick one on Trump, and then it's over.
All right.
I've just been thinking about it during that break. I think that if Trump attended voice coach lessons in how to speak properly, that would seriously help his cause.
So I hope most of the people on the radio station
doesn't have it in him.
No, it's not that. But people are saying. I mean, I was listening to. I follow this expert in this self-proclaimed expert in dementia. They seem to be claiming that Trump is actually has problems. He's producing too much saliva in his mouth, which is
the problem.
But he's monotone. He's monotone, and he talks like an 8-year-old little girl.
He does. The problem with Trump is that he's got a very, very limited vocabulary.
Right.
It's incredible how limited it is.
I'm just a bit stunned here by our latest headline: David Beckham seen at Davos summit amid family rift. Now,
for God's sake.
There you go, Rex. I thought you'd like that. On your Woke Finder General radar, has that gone up to 11?
I do not understand the fascination of the Beckham family and what their business is. Their business. It should not be in the news. It's nothing to do with us.
Yes, but people want bread and circuses, Rex. They want to have the soap opera of that sort of thing. Hence the Kardashians, my friend.
They want to move their to feel that they're not as badly done by, perhaps, as others, and they want to. Pass it across.
Let's have a moment of reflection on the poor Beckhams. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay. Swiftly onwards. Right, Davos. Right. So as we speak, Ursula von der Leyen is calling to build a new independent Europe. Of course, all the Brexiteers are there saying, "Well, we didn't want a European army." But hey, they've landed, quote unquote, landed forces, quote unquote, in Greenland. I mean, one British officer to observe, isn't that? But first we go to the lines. Morning, calling you live on TRE. What's your name? Where are you calling from? What's your viewpoint, please?
It's Peter again.
Peter.
Right. Just quickly, I'll try and make it.
I do like it when you say right, because I imagine you're sort of rolling up your sleeves and going, okay, here we go. Come on then.
Yeah, those days are over.
Okay, fair enough.
For that. If Trump to come across less aggressive and take over Greenland, the best way, proven, tried and tested, best way to destroy a country and take it over, especially on a little island, is to...
Peter? Missed you there. That'll be the woke people knocking on your fare, Peter. Say that again, because the best thing is, we're going to say, what, attack the currency like we attacked the Kiwi?
Illegal migration. Allow as many people into the country as you possibly can. Yeah?
There's a thought.
Then, at the same time,
yeah,
you tax the hell out of your indigenous people. You destroy the savings of your older people. You create a system of benefits where you give the benefits to the people that are coming in to increase the votes. So the votes, obviously, from, say, let's say would normally be labelled right-wing. They believe in God, family, things like that. But you encourage them to run for local politics. You then get them to talk to their people to then buy their vote. You increase the vote of those people, and in no time at all, you can destroy the country and take it over. It's tried and tested and is going on in the world right now.
So you were thinking maybe we should get some Syrian refugees then and then send them to Greenland?
Yeah, fill it up. I'll go, because if he's going to give me $5 million, I'm on my way. I'll get my American passport, right. Then I can buy him a ranch in Texas, can't I?
Right,
easy.
There you go. Then right, I've got some more calls coming in, Peter. But thank you for that one. Morning, caller. You're live on TRE. What's your name? Where are you calling from? What's the viewpoint, please? Caller, you're live on TRE.
Caller.
He was caller, and as my Welsh grandmother used to say. And there he was.
Hello?
Caller, there you are. Thank you. Morning, caller.
Okay, so I was having a word with Rex, saying I think he's insulting 8-year-old girls, isn't he? Saying that Trump sounds like them. Okay, sorry on that point. Yeah, couldn't do this.
Very good.
Bye now.
Was that okay? Thank you very much for that, John and Mijas.
That was a good one.
That was a good one. Right. Quick break, before we come back while Rex chortles uncontrollably on the boat.
Viewpoint with Giles Brown.
Always live, always lively. If you want to get involved with this morning's Viewpoint.
To contact TRE, please call 952 78 4000. Email studio@tre.radio. Send us a WhatsApp on +34 645 99 67 95. Message us on Facebook, Talk Radio Europe Official. or tweet us at TRE Talk Radio.
And let's just see if Rex has stopped chortling yet. Rex, have you managed to stop chortling?
I have indeed.
Right, okay, jolly good. Von der Leyen, Trump's tariff plans are a mistake. Denmark is also deploying more troops to Greenland and proposes a NATO mission to Rutte in the Arctic. So, Rex, Davos, any thoughts? I mean, oh, by the way, quick one from Ray. I agree totally with Trump. I'm with Rex on the Beckham stuff. Who cares, Caps? Right then. EU's von der Leyen, we are working on a massive European investment surge in Greenland. Somebody says, Peter, on twice. Shameful, Giles. Unfortunately, I can't look down the telephone line and see who's calling me, so sorry about that, mate. Right then, Rex.
Well, I'm perfectly honest, Giles, I haven't really read anything or listened to the news regarding Davos. I always wonder why they go there and who pays for it and what is achieved at Davos. And will it help the man in the street across the world? I think not. I think probably it's a beginning with C. Well, I'll use the word cohort, not quite the word I wanted, of people that probably only have their own interests to worry about or to care about. What is? I mean, how is it helping us?
According to the World Economic Forum official website, which I'm looking at now, the mission is to improve the state of the world through public-private cooperations. Our values shape how we make decisions, how we work with each other, and how we engage the world. Integrity, impartiality, independence, respect, and excellence. So I think he's ticked off at least 4 of those, but by lunchtime.
Yeah.
I'm actually with Rex on this one. I never understood or took much notice of what happens in Davos. Maybe I'm wrong, and I should be more focused and to see what's happening, because it might have an influence that we don't know. But I'm with Rex on that
Andreas,
one.
I think they go for the fondue and the raclette.
Sorry?
They go for the fondue and the raclette. The raclette.
Connecting global leaders to make sense of global challenges and move the world forward together. So there you go.
Well,
but anything that surely gets the world leaders talking. I mean, Nigel said he was going to have some words with Trump yesterday when I caught him on the socials. He was going to have some strong words to Donald Trump, which I can see that going down well. Also,
when's he speaking?
It's bound to be today, isn't it? But it's going to be very interesting. I mean, and also this whole thing about. I mean, we haven't even talked about the Nobel Peace Prize yet. But however,
don't start me off.
Oh, I'll start you off after this. Morning, caller, you're live on TRE. What's your name? Where are you calling from? What's your viewpoint, please?
Good morning, Giles.
Morning, Alf.
Just to make sure everybody understands that I'm still alive.
Well,
listening in.
We never doubted it for a second, Alf. I was just waiting for you.
Well, having Peter on twice is just the full explanation. He should be on 3 or 4 times, because he comes on the first time and everybody says, "Oh, I don't like Andreas. I don't agree with much of what he says." He should come on again to explain why you should agree with him. Right. And then the third time is to correct what Andreas has got wrong. And so it goes on. It saves him having a go at me all the time, to be honest. So I'd sooner ring in and have a pop at Andreas, which I thought he was going to do. How dare Andreas say that he wasn't listening to me? Never mind. Good show, guys. And to Rex, the best of New Year's to you, son. We're both in our 70s. And
blessed with good health all through the year.
Yeah, well, I'm not so sure about the good, but blessed with being alive.
Yeah.
Still have all those old age problems, as they say. But that's a different story. I was just...
Alf.
Yeah?
We're closer to Valentine's Day than New Year's.
And it's the first time that Rex has been on, and I never said Happy New Year. No. I just said the best of New Years.
You're very kind.
For all of us, it is a new year. And
Andreas,
when you reach our age, when you reach our age, mate, you know what the best of New Year's means. it's another year that we've survived. So
you're telling me.
One of the things that did surprise me was when. Sorry, Rex, but I don't know why they go to Davos. What's it? Oh, it's for the fondue and the whatever.
And the raclette.
Do you not really, honestly, understand what Davos is all about? If you listen to all of the people over the years, all of the people that came on, and we used to say, oh, that's just a conspiracy theory and this and the other. Davos is a collection of the people who run the world. It's quite simple. All of the big companies of the world, all of the major governments of the world, all of the important people of the world who make decisions that affect our lives, all gather in Davos.
Now, remember one thing that they've done.
No. I don't need to know what they've done to know what they're doing. They're running your life. They're running my life. They run everybody's lives because they dictate in the world, certainly in the Western world, this is how you're going to live, this is what you're going to do, this is how many houses are going to be built, it's these people that run the world. So Davos for them is like, I don't know, what was it called, Giles? It's the old cabal of people who smoke-filled rooms and... Yeah, well, no, it's more than one cabal. It's the joining together of the brotherhoods, isn't it? Davos is important for them.
Right.
It may not be that important for us because we have no influence over it.
Right. Okay.
And
but I mean, surely if there are elected representatives taking part in Davos, he said, as being devil's avocado, if there are elected representatives taking part, then we do have a say in it.
No, because they don't go there and tell the others what to do. They go there and get their instructions from the people who... when Bill Gates says something, the world listens. When Starmer says something, the world doesn't necessarily listen. It's as different as that. Some people, we have to understand, have more influence on world issues than governments. We know there are people in the world who are bigger than 2/3 of the world's countries in terms of power, wealth, influence. They're not elected. Bill Gates isn't. What was he elected to? Nothing. Self-made entrepreneur. And so it goes on with all of them. And which is why I was fascinated, because Rex tries to put Davos down as if it's some boys' club meeting to have a little chat about fondue sets and things like that. And these are the world's most powerful men making decisions, not necessarily... democratic decisions, but they're making decisions amongst themselves. If you don't think that all these people sitting... the difference today is they don't meet in smoke-filled rooms, but they do meet, obviously. Otherwise, you tell me what the point would be of someone who's one of the richest people in the world going to Davos, to swan around for 2 or 3 days. These people don't waste their time like that. They're going there for a reason.
Well, I think you ought to go next year, Alf. I think you ought to go next year. I really do.
Well, I tell you what. You remember when they used to do... What was Giles? What's the name of that newspaper? Where they all used to go and meet as well, but they used to advertise it, and there was a big issue because people turned up and all of a sudden it was in the press, this person's turned up from this government. And I remember it was Ed Balls went to it once. Hoff Press.
Oh yeah. That rings a very sort of like distant bell on
absolutely, and they were meeting it probably wasn't Davos, but they were meeting before that, and then all of a sudden this wherever it is, Hoff Press make it all public, and all of a sudden Davos pops out of it. So now it's an annual visit to Davos. They're not going there for the skiing. I mean, on top of everything else, they go to a freezing cold country full of snow.
I just want to come in. So, what you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, probably am, but so we are little pawns that go and get excited because we go to the poll station to vote, to choose a government and a parliament and everything else, that representative goes to Davos and they're told what to do.
No. I didn't say they went there to be told what to do. I said they're there to get their instructions.
Bill Gates speaks and everyone listens, but Keir Starmer speaks and nobody listens or has no much influence on it.
No,
basically, our elected
Bill Gates says
elected representatives go there and someone will tell them what they have to do.
Andreas, you might get away with it with Peter. You might get away with it with Peter, but you ain't doing it with me. Don't talk down to me. I've said quite clearly, Bill Gates, when he says something, it's worldwide. It's a worldwide message that people listen to. When Starmer goes on the telly and says something, it's not a worldwide message and not everybody listens to him. Yeah, he's been on talking about Greenland, but ask me if half the world have listened to a word he said. If Bill Gates went on and said, I'm thinking of doing this in Greenland, the world would listen, because they know he's powerful enough to do something. So there is a difference. And yes, if you think what they've said, Starmer's not going to Davos, all of a sudden there's a big outcry. 64 other world leaders are going to Davos or something like that. But it's wrong because Starmer's not going because he doesn't think it's going to resolve anything over Greenland. And the reality is that Davos isn't there to talk about world events like that. If they want to do that, they'll have a separate meeting, or they'll do it over the phone, or they'll have one of these TikTok meetings or whatever they have, secret meetings on the screens, and all do their chit-chat. Why would Starmer be interested in going to Davos to meet up with Trump for 5 minutes where Trump's not even going to listen to him anyway, because Trump's got his view about how he's going to operate? And if Trump was that ill, I don't decry the people saying he's obviously got something. Medical people know a lot more than I do, but if he was that poorly, if he was that bad, you don't think that people would allow him to just carry on being the president. It wouldn't happen like that. So yes, he may have medical problems, but they're manageable medical problems.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Okay, Alf, thank you as always for that. Good to have you with us. And yeah.
So, Andreas.
Yes.
Just accept the fact there are people in the world who are bigger than us, and you're not even as big as a pawn. Okay, we're little plankton.
I've often wanted to be compared to krill, and often are. Alf, as always, thanks very much for that. Okay, going to take a quick break, and then we'll go into the last 10 minutes of this morning's Viewpoint.
All the best.
Thanks, Alf. Take care.
Bye, Alf. Thank you.
Happy Valentine's, Alf.
Thank you.
Bye.
Viewpoint on Talk Radio Europe with Giles Brown.
Right then, into the last 10 minutes of this morning's Viewpoint. It really has flown past, thanks to the quality of my guests this morning. The Work Finder General, Sir Rex Leyland, NBC, DBR and Bar, Wine Bar mainly, and of course... Andres just collapsed, by the way. Sorry about that. Andres just collapsed in laugh. We got to have a laugh. I'm just laughing because I don't know if anyone's watching Sky News. We have it on a thing, but Kemi Badenoch, the Conservative leader, is doing a speech. I'm not sure what it's on, but she's got in the background. She's obviously in a Ferrari dealership. She's got a Testarossa on the right hand side and a Ferrari Dino on the left hand side. If she's doing a thing about inequality or the poverty line, that's a brilliant one. And Andres, I'm just letting you know. That's a picture of Le Mans in the background. That she's just so you know. That right, I recognise that racing circuit. Okay. So that's how much of an. Would you like me to get my anorak off now? Or
no.
Okay. To the what's? Oh no, let's have a look at the poll we're having, because we're asking the question. Oh, exactly, Andres. Yeah. Oh, the poll. Do you think the US-UK special relationship is finally over? 45% of you say yes. 55% say no. So therefore, we seem to think the relationship is intact. Meanwhile, Bill Gates is more powerful than Sir Keir Starmer. It was never Ferrari Dino. Okay, I know. Okay, I'll get your anorak. Your anorak is bigger than my anorak then. Dino's a standalone brand. Okay, Battle of the Anoraks. No. Okay, well done. Meanwhile, to the lines we go. Richard, you are the font of all knowledge. Caller, good morning to you. Is a Ferrari Dino a standalone brand? What do you think, caller?
Well, I didn't hear it, Giles.
Right, fair enough.
I wanted to ring in a third time.
Come on, then.
I want to ruin.
You want a record?
So.
Come on, then. Come on.
Yeah,
Peter.
I just.
As it's almost Valentine's, let's go. Come on, let's...
Credit where credit's due. I agree with what Alf just said, and he's right. And if I'd have known Andreas said he wasn't listening, he would have got an earful, and he would have listened. So there you go. Because trouble is when I'm doing it on the phone, we get feedback, we got delay, and all that business. So there you go. But World Economic Forum, I don't know if Alf, I vaguely recall what he was saying, but also there's a Bilderberg group.
Yeah.
And Andreas, there's a Spanish author called Daniel Estelin who wrote the book about the Bilderberg Group many years ago. Good read, very good read. And as for politics, we don't get to choose. We get to choose the candidate. That's what we get. And the World Economic Forum, exactly what Alf said, I won't repeat it, they go there to instruct them what they're going to do and not going to do. And I'll give you a tiny little example of how it works. I'm not saying this happened, but this is how it works.
Yeah.
New cars come out. They all have emergency beacons on them. The Mercedes and BMWs in there. So the old triangle system disappears. So what they do is they find a country like Spain and they introduce a law that makes us all spend 30 euros, every one of us, because somebody says, my company's gone in 2 years' time because this is not going to function. So do it to one country. Following year, do it to the world. I can make a fortune. I will kick back to you and your parties, and then we go from there. And then they choose who you're going to manufacture that good. This is how the World Economic Forum works. They spend a lot of money to be there. And that's where all the power and influence is. And the Bilderberg Group from the 50s, because it was held in the Bilderberg Hotel, if you go back and you watch the documentaries and you see the young men and women, mainly men, turn up at Bilderberg meetings, and only 20 years later to find out it's a Tony Blair, a Mandelson, a Brown, and I won't speak on the people of the other countries, I'm not so sure.
Okay.
But that's how it works. And fair play to Alf. I never thought I'd hear that come out of his mouth. But
thanks.
Hey-ho.
Thanks very much for that, Peter. Right then, moving swiftly onwards. This coming in. So, what does Peter think will happen to Greenland without immigrants? It wouldn't take long for their... Okay, I'm not going to read that one out. Oh, blimey. That's a bit... morning, Gary, who is lovely ruins in Cartagena. Sunny but chilly. So that's your weather report in Cartagena. Have you been to Cartagena, Andreas?
Yeah, I've been to Cartagena.
It's more likely that Davos is a platform for the financial cabal to provide PR for what's already been decided. Ah, yes, indeed, those cabals, etc.
Cabal is the word I was looking for.
Was it now?
Yeah,
right.
Not cohort, cabal.
Cabal.
Whoever... Would you thank that person profusely?
I will thank that person profusely, and that person profusely was indeed... Who was it? It was RCC. Meanwhile, so I'm now getting a live stream of photographs from Cartagena. So there you go. 3 days of mourning, by the way, have been declared throughout Spain, haven't they? And we say Sanchez is not going to Davos because of the train disaster. The King and Queen have flown back from their aunt's funeral. Was it in Greece it was being held?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Sanchez is not going to Davos because of the train accident. He didn't think it was appropriate to travel at this time of mourning. The King and the Queen were in Greece at the funeral of the King's auntie, and they're flying back today. I think today they'll be on site doing
they're going
what
today,
royalty does in these cases, which is just walk around and check it out.
Just quickly, we'll end with this, Rex. I think we've got 5 minutes. Just because of the death of this was the Sophia, the Queen Mother Sophia's sister, wasn't it? And
correct.
And for those who don't know, of course, Queen Sophia is
the
Greek.
wife of the Juan Carlos, which was the former
king. But she's Greek. They come from
Greek. Queen's
Sophia. Sister has died. The sister has died. Yes.
Yeah, but it's a Greek family. They come from the Greek royal family. The descendants of the Greek royal family. Yes.
Yeah.
And she was living in. Was she based in?
She was in Madrid. She lived in Palace, I believe. Yes.
And she had quite a good. She had a very close relationship with Queen Sophia, didn't she? They were very
close sisters. Yes, and with the kids as well. So the king would have grown up with the figure of the auntie. So he had to go to the funeral,
of course.
And the accident happened after he travelled to Greece.
Yes, indeed. Let's have a look at. I just want to get some close of business things. Richard very kindly sent me through this in from YouGov. If the US would place tariff on British goods imported to the US over the UK's opposition to US attempts to take over Greenland, would you support or oppose the UK responding by placing tariffs on American goods imported to the UK? Strongly support 45%, somewhat support 22%, somewhat oppose 8%, strongly oppose 6%. Don't know, 19%. The poll, so this morning's poll, I was asking this morning, do you think that the US stroke UK special relationship, do you think it is over? Well, it's this is a figure. 48% said it is, and 52% said no. So we've seen that result. We've seen that result before. Brexit. So thank you for those. So from our listeners, we still think the UK and US special relationship is not over. It is still. It's still current, but it's only Tuesday. I mean, after Trump said UK's Chagos deal is an act of great stupidity, you can't go around calling things. I mean, if you were to call this show an act of great stupidity, I mean, I wouldn't be very happy about it, would we, Andres?
No, we wouldn't.
Right, thank you for the way you let do that. Rex, any final thoughts about? I mean, when you've checked the craft, checked the vessel, from the master bedroom, and you sally forth. I mean, are you looking at the papers every day now, going, I can't believe, I don't believe it's not me. I can't believe it's not butter, but I can't believe it's not coming out of the Washington, because it seems to be we live in quote unquote interesting times.
True. I read the Saturday and Sunday papers through the week, but I get also a local London paper called City AM, which is like the Evening Standard was, but it's in the morning, not in the evening, and you get a wonderful encapsulation of news from around the world and from the city and what's going on and so on. So I will be able to read the Davos report in that, and maybe I'll be able to commit to memory one salient thing that comes out of Davos that will help the people of the world. How's that?
That's a wonderful thing, Rex. As always, the woke finder general, who declared that something wasn't woke today, which I think, if that's not a sign of the world is in chaos, I don't know what isn't. But Rex, always good to hear from you. And may I just, as we come up to Valentine's, may I just say, I'm feeling a lot of love in the room.
Oh, I started a good one.
You started a good one there, Andres. I just again, thanks so much for your invaluable look at what's happening in Spain.
Yeah, my final thought is just, for all it's worth, to send my condolences to the friends and families of the victims of the accident on Sunday. If anyone out there is listening, I just send my condolences to them, and I hope they can recover from such an event.
I think we're all very, very moved by that, and I think Rex would agree with that.
Our thoughts are there.
Yeah, I'll leave you with this final thought, which comes from Richard, who's been keeping up a running commentary, as he always does throughout this show. He said, stupidity, viewpoint, TRE, pigs, flight. Listen, thank you so much. It's been a wonderful Viewpoint as always. Thank you so much for your.
I think just to sum up, Giles, I think probably Viewpoint is due for a government grant.
Marvellous, indeed.
Undoubtedly.
If we don't all move to Greenland for that £5 million each.
Exactly.
This show will be. Thank you, Rex. This show will be repeated at 7 o'clock. Stephen Ritson is up next.
The views expressed on Viewpoint by invited studio guests and callers do not constitute an opinion endorsed in any way by Talk Radio Europe.
You've been listening to a TRE production. If you've enjoyed this program, there'll be another episode waiting for you next week, right here on this platform, where you can also access our extensive back catalogue of shows and interviews. For more information on our live programming, social media channels and apps, and how to contact Talk Radio Europe, please visit tre.radio.